cities in Oklahoma make law is they, for the most part, create ordinances.
Providing for repealer, saving clause, severability, and codification.
We have ordinances on study sessions and our regular sessions routinely. And those ordinances are codified into a code book. And we have 2 large volumes of these ordinances. And there's a part of, in general, after we've done the ordinance, the meat of the ordinance you will find in the code books or online with our codifier. There's parts that are behind the scene, and you will not find them in the ordinance book, the code book, but you will find them in the ordinance when we pass it. And that's the behind the scene language. And one of them is the repealer. And the repealer says, if in this big code book there are things that are inconsistent with this new ordinance, we're going to repeal those. And so it is a section that's not going to appear in the ordinance, but is very important. So it repeals the old, antiquated stuff.
Whenever I first started working here, we went to repeal all of the taxi ordinances. And so we just pulled out almost wholesale the public conveyance vehicle article, Chapter 9 of Title 3. And included in that was our airport shuttle ordinances, which we've not used. Luckily, we don't use an airport shuttle, haven't used in a long time. But there's an example where repealing one ordinance or passing an ordinance that's going to repeal something can change other ordinances.
Then there's a savings clause. And that is that in this savings clause, this ordinance does not affect any suits or proceedings, and it doesn't affect any rights or cause of actions or anything like that. Okay, so for example,
Enid, Oklahoma loves horses.
if we had an ordinance that specifically said everyone could have 5 horses in Willow West, and some people did, and maybe it was a use by review. You can have a use by review, and then you can have your horses in Willow West. That would be a zoning thing. And someone got a use by review. And then a new ordinance said, no, we're only going to allow dogs and cats. We are not going to allow people in Willow West to have horses. The savings clause would affect it. It is a way to let people know, okay, your horses are grandfathered, and you don't have to sue us over this. You're fine. The next one, severability. So, though we try to make sure that all of our ordinances are going to be lawful, it could, from time to time, ordinances, state laws, federal laws are rendered void because of some obscure part of the law. So the severability clause says, okay, that piece, we're going to take out that one paragraph, and that will be void, but everything else remains. So that's what the severability clause does for you. Then there's the codification clause, and that basically is telling the codifiers who make these books and put it on the internet, it tells them where to put it.
So whenever you see codification, that's the city council saying, one, that this ordinance is something we want to be added to our code. And of course, the code's just the laws that the town has. And then whenever we have to recodify, which will be coming up this year, we are codifying or saying we are still subscribing to all the laws that we have on these books.
That's what those odd clauses are. It's not exciting, but it's necessary.